tell you what, starting this thing up never gets boring. How cool is that?
Just before we open this thing up, I just wanted to bring some attention to how well this thing is packaged. First thing I noticed when it came through the post is that it is completely sealed, which is good for keeping dust and stuff out of the transportation side of things. And I can feel and tell that this is a very dense product, which is good because it means there's no space wasted in the packaging, so things aren't rattling around and it doesn't feel cheap at all. Now, let's not waste any more time, let's open this thing up, see what this bad boy can do. And just as I do this, oh wow, that is very nice. Yeah, see, I could already tell that this was put together very well. I mean, look at that, that is clean. That is gonna look so crisp. But first impressions, this thing is ultra clean. I mean, we'll get downstairs into the garage in a second and see this a bit more up close when we actually install it, but mate, you can't be mad at that. That is flash. So there we go, that is everything that comes in the box, and that's all you're gonna need. You get your instruction manual, you get some mounting bolts, you get a mounting plate, you get a mounting arm. Let me just say, I thought this was gonna be plastic, but it's not, it's actually solid metal, so there's a plus for that. This is not your usual cheap Temu rubbish. And it comes with a secondary power supply. What's good about this is these units can be powered either off your battery, which I believe that's what the fuse comes into play for, or if you have a USB port, it can be powered directly from the USB. Now this is a plus for me because this is going onto my KTM Supermoto, which has a USB port built in, so we're gonna be powering it off the USB. And speaking of installs, let's jump down to the bike and actually start setting this thing up and seeing what it can do. So it's literally, as you can see, as easy as that is the back of the unit for the power supply. That is the cable. So you either use the USB like I am, as you can see, I'm just gonna plug that into the USB port, or you use the other cable, which will go straight through underneath and you can wire it through and put it onto your battery. But for this purpose, we're just gonna be using the USB port because we are lucky enough to have one. So it's pretty self-explanatory, and it's very good that they have this screw watertight housing. So that's good peace of mind. And obviously I'll just plug this straight into the USB port. Later on, obviously, let's be realistic, I'm gonna tidy up the cable, so I'll hide all this and tidy it, but for now, I just wanna see what this thing can do. So if I'm right, it's literally as simple as turning on the key, this thing should boot up. That is class. So just before we connect this thing up and see what it can do with my phone, basically, as you can see, it's got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, it does all that good stuff, which is awesome for you guys that like to go off the beaten track. That's a very cool function, so you can never get lost. But this is the 5-inch display, as I just said, as you can see, because I think the 7-inch would be too big for the cockpit. Maybe on another bike, or if you guys have a bigger bike, that makes more sense. But basically, this thing, as I said, has a 5-inch IPS high definition touchscreen. Pretty much, look at it, it's immaculate, that is so good. And the good thing about this is you can use it with your gloves. Very nice. This thing is also light sensitive, so it means that the brightness will adjust depending on your environment if you'd like it to. It has 2 power supplies, as I said. It has the USB option or the battery. Very good and very awesome if you guys want to hardwire it completely to your bike. Or if you're lucky enough to have a USB, you can just pop it off, take it to another bike if you've got 2 bikes like I do. And the main reason I'm excited about this is this will replace what I used to do, and I used to have my phone mounted on a handlebar mount, which many people do. This is the solution to that, because if you guys might have noticed, very recently I swapped my phones over. Now that wasn't by choice, that was because the vibration let the rain in somewhere and my phone got water damaged even though it claimed it was waterproof. So the biggest selling point for me, and I think these things are for, if you want to make sure that you don't wreck your phone, because I don't know about you guys, a lot of my life is on my phone, so the fact that my phone broke because it was on a handlebar mount and got rained on isn't ideal, and I don't want to be going through that again, so this alleviates the stress of that. And being that it's IP67 waterproof and dustproof, you might as well just let this take the beating from the elements than your phone. And as a last party trick, which is super awesome if you guys have things like cardos and stuff like that, this will connect up to 2 Bluetooth units. So if I'm riding with lovely Mrs. Tube on the back, or if you guys have a passenger, or if you're riding in a group and you're pretty close to each other, you can share the same music and entertainment off of this between headphones. That is awesome if you ask me, because then you can talk to each other and listen to the same music. Right, let's set this thing up, test it out in the real world, shall we? So it's as simple as connecting to the Carpuride, like so. Yes, you can see that my Galaxy is connected. And here we go. So there you go, we are connected and everything is on here, from my phone to Spotify to anything else. You can go back home, is literally my phone, as you can see. How awesome is that? That for me is super handy, because how many times do you guys have to stop, take your gloves off, fiddle around and try and mess with your phone? Literally solved. And the only thing left to do now is connect it up to our listening device, which for me is going to be a Cardo, but this obviously connects to any other Bluetooth headset. And as you can see, as I said earlier, you've got 2 units that you can connect to, so that's pretty damn awesome. So there you go, that is us all set up. The Cardo is connected, so the only thing left to do now is to go out and give this thing a little road test and see what it's like out in the wild. And of course there are other settings and things you can mess with. I'm not going to do that in this video. And one last thing, you can actually change that boot up screen to show what you want. So in the future it will say throttle tube. What an awesome touch. Right, enough talking, enough jibber jabbing about this. Let's get out on the road and see what it looks like in the real world.
Then you see it just connect to the phone and it'll just pop up just like that. Then I've got everything connected through my Cardo, as I said. I've got Spotify, my maps, whatever else I want to do. It's pretty damn cool, and as you can see, even with my gloves on, it's very, very tactile, which is something you don't get when you mount your phone on the handlebar. So I must say, that's pretty cool. But as you can see, as we go on this little quick spin just to test it out in the real world, that looks so good. I've got it about medium brightness at the moment, and it's crystal clear. I'm sure the camera does some justice as well. But that's the main thing that I've noticed, is how clear this screen is. It's so much clearer than I actually expected. What is a chicken doing in the road? Why did the chicken cross the road? To get a Carpuride, of course. Seriously though, look how good that is. So clear, so easy just to go back and forth on what you want to do. And of course when messages and stuff come through when you're riding, it's so much easier to see on here than it would be having to get your phone out your pocket or rely on your phone when you're riding if you had it mounted, because as I know, even though I've got one of the best, latest smartphones, they're still not as tactile as this thing. That having something like this eliminates the vibration of your phone, because your phone is not on the handlebar. This is waterproof, dustproof. Why not just let this take the battering from the elements as it's designed to do, and let your phone be safe in your pocket, in your backpack, somewhere out of the way, and you can still use it as you would on your handlebar. That alone for me makes this a unit that I would definitely buy, regardless of whether they sent me one or not, because as I just said, it was only about a month ago before my actual phone broke. So in that aspect, this is worth its weight in gold for me. And if you're someone like me who's very conscious of not wanting to buy another phone over and over again, because the last one I just paid was about 1,600 New Zealand dollars, make of that what you will. So with that, phones are not cheap whatsoever, and I'd rather just have a unit that I don't have to replace than to be worrying about my actual handheld device getting destroyed via the elements on the road. And if you're someone who likes to go a little bit more adventurous, and you're definitely going to be pushing the limits of your phone, you and I both know that. But I mean, you can just clearly just look and just see the use case of where something like this would come in handy, especially if you're on like an older bike that doesn't have a great dashboard, KTM with a calculator front. But all jokes aside, I think you guys can clearly see the advantage of having something like this Carpuride 502. And as I said, make sure you check out their website, because they have different models. They have some models specific to bikes. But yeah guys, I think this unit clearly speaks for itself. You don't need me to sell it to you. It's just an awesome step up for me, and I hope that some of you guys see this, because I didn't even know this existed until they reached out. So I would have bought one of these before Carpuride reached out to me a long time ago. So for me, that speaks wonders, and you will definitely be seeing this going forward on my channel. So there you go, Carpuride, you've done well. I'm very happy with the unit. I'm also super happy with the customer service. They've been nothing but great to me. Very nice people over there. And as I said, they've gave us a discount code. If you head over to Carpuride and enter the code THROTTLETUBE, you will get yourself a nice 30% off at the checkout.